Okay, well, we are here. Well, thank you, Sheryl, for having our A-team meeting, and we decided to record. So Sheryl and I are going to share a little bit from our Dallas Summit and a little bit from the Prep for Q School that we were able to attend. It was a leadership day that's 23 hours of super intense information that is from some of the top leaders in our organization that is directly in our sidelines and our uplines. And the Prep for Q is an invitation only, which means that we had to qualify for it. And it was amazing. So I wanted to share a little bit today for those of you that are on the call, and then also for those of you that might be jumping on this call later, recorded over the weekend, about scheduling and I really hesitate to use the word time management. And so I'm going to just kind of explain why. But we're talking about scheduling and the importance of the time that we utilize in I'm going to call it energy management. I think that's more appropriate. So our energy management is really about where we choose to put our energy, because everybody has the same 165 hours every single week. But where we choose to put that is going to depend on where you end up before the Phoenix conference, and where you end up before the Tampa conference, and where you end up in your business at the end of 2018. So with that being said, I have always utilized a couple tools, and some of these tools we briefly talked about at the summit and at the Prep for Q, but I do want to share them. And then I wanted to share what Kathy Crockett had shared with us, which was really, really awesome. It was about awareness. And she gave us this handout, which I'm going to share with you some of these notes. And she had this little arrow at the top, and I'm going to zoom in on the camera. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. She calls that a fog cutting arrow. And what the fog cutting arrow is basically choice, discipline, and habits. And you have this target that's at the end of the arrow. You see that? And when you create this fog cutting arrow in your ability to manage your energy and your choices and your habits, then it continues to go to the outcome that you want. But you can't get through that fog unless you actually really intentionally set that time aside. And so she said there's one word for the outcome, and it's choice. Two supporting words would be unhack. So you'd be kind of unhacking what your word would be, just kind of thinking about how that looks for you, what you need to cut through, what kind of fog you need to cut through in your life so you can get to that outcome and have those choices. So how our culture and our habits and are kind of seen as more reactive, and in this business it's proactive. So we really have to work on being influenced about our own time, and we have to choose to manage that ourselves. The main thing that I have really learned through all these management skills is, first, it all comes back to being grateful and putting out a spirit of gratitude for the blessings that are yet to come. Not being grateful for the things you have. And there's a very, very clear difference in being grateful for things that are yet to come. That's faith. That's belief. And that's what's going to bring the abundance into your life, versus being, oh, I'm thankful for my family, I'm thankful for my house, I'm thankful for my car. Yes, it's awesome to be thankful and grateful for those things, but those are things that are already manifest and appeared in our life. And so the abundance and the infinite supply of the pouring out of what Spirit has for us comes from being grateful before we see it manifest in our life. The belief and the faith that our Creator has given us these blessings, and they're coming in and they're on their way. Yeah. And so what that is that really that's where we start from. And Kathy Crockett is one of the most Spirit-filled women that I've ever been around. And she has a really great book out too that I'd love to recommend for you guys. I'll put it in our A-team chat. And she actually has, she has two copies, right? Version 1 and version 2, where she has conglomerated
Courageous Women.
Courageous Women, that's what, yeah. Courageous Women of Faith, and she's conglomerated powerful stories of women and how they've utilized their stories to propel them forward versus freeze them and stop them in their tracks. And so we all have a story, and we all want to look at what our current place is and what our current pace is, and then ask ourselves what we want for our lifestyle, for our marriage, for our children. And you really don't want to tell yourself, I don't have any time, because really all we have is time. That is it's a finite resource for being a human. But it is something that we have choices, and we have lots and lots of choices. So there's the voice inside of our head that says, you got to hustle, you got to stay busy, you got to stay busy. I'm always so busy. I can't do that. I don't have time. What are you telling yourself over and over and over in your tapes that go through your mind? Are you saying, I don't have time to do that? I'm too busy. I don't, or even on the other hand, I don't have enough money. I can't afford that. What are you saying to yourself? And so think about that. When all you really have is time, you're given all the time you have, and you get to choose how you use it. So the quote is, are you choosing well, from John Kabat-Zinn. So the hustle is really about being smart and wise. Don't get into the pressure. Don't get time wasters and low demands taking over your powerful time that you have created on your schedule. So the life that you sign yourself up for may require a level of strategy and structure, but it also might make you feel like you're operating a military life and a strict schedule. So you have to create time for flexibility in there. I was looking over my schedule. When I revamp my schedule quite often, but I do, and I'll share with you how I do my schedule, because I run 2 businesses and help my husband with his company as well, and also a family and a household. So I really feel like I have created a lot of different tools that are working. One of those that was not working is I was forgetting to schedule in time to eat. And I would schedule my day, and then I would realize that it was 4:00 and I hadn't even eaten anything. So I have really incorporated, first thing in my quiet time is I also start my cranberry detox, and then I will, as soon as my quiet time is over, I'll make my shake. And so, you've got to schedule in time for eating, and that has to be part of your calendar time, and as well as other important things that are fun. And you also schedule in time buffers. Like I was forgetting to schedule in travel time. And so I thought I was teleporting to places because I was not scheduling in any car time. But car time can be used really wisely, and I love to listen to audiobooks in my car. So Audible is one of my favorite things to do in the car. So there's an impulse about pushing, rushing, having guilt for not doing things. But Kathy, in her words, she said, what restores me, what allows me to interact well with my family, what allows me to get good work done is almost always the opposite. It's finding when the practice things like rest and grace and peace and prayer and self-care and slowness get the work done just the same, except for there's less crying and less apologizing to your family. So there's a very big difference in that daily walk. And there's a really great book by Shauna Nealquist, which I listened to last year, and it's called Perfect Over Perfection or something like that. I'll look it up. But it was really, really awesome. And so there's work that's only yours to do, and then there's children to raise too in my family. There are stories that are only mine to tell, and there are friends that are mine to walk with. We know what is essential in our lives and when everything else is negotiable. So one of the questions that we want to ask is, how do you have fun? And so what do you like to do for fun? And if you have a piece of paper next to you, just jot down a couple things that you like to do for fun. And what are those things? I mean, if anybody has anything that you want to pop off with and just unmute yourself, you can share real quick about things that you just really enjoy. Bill? What do you do for fun?
Yeah, I'm a reader, and I love to think of ways to communicate to people why evolution is false. I mean, that's a big part of my life, because if people can understand that, we can save this country.
Awesome.
Because it'll restore belief in the Bible.
Marianne, what do you do for fun?
Am I muted or not muted?
No, you're unmuted.
I'm unmuted. Okay. For fun lately, I've done something that is not really what we've ever talked about being a good thing in the Juice Plus world, which is watching television, but like HGTV stuff or whatever. And I started doing that as a way to unwind, because I'm a single mom and I'm really super busy in lots of different areas of my life. And I was I needed it for sleep really as much as anything, which obviously, refuels our body for us to go the next day. So I've started doing that. It's just kind of like after dinner's done and I've cleaned up, then I don't try to do anything else. I just chill.
Yeah.
And I do that with my daughter. We watch something together and stuff like that. So it's relationship. And then it's also just that unwinding and stuff.
I think it's important. And, if you have time that you are working and then time that you're off, if you want to choose to watch TV, I heard a little bit of guilt in there. I don't think there's any reason to actually explain why you watch TV. I think if it's fun for you, do it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Not done during your working time, right? So
it's balance. It's balance.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with that. Just in the years that I've been in Juice Plus, people talk about that relative to growing the business is like, setting the TV time aside. But I agree with you, Lisa. So
yeah, it's got to be about, if you're not doing something else fun, why not watch a movie? So Sheryl, what do you do for fun?
It's funny. Catherine Lee was asking that question too, and she's saying make sure there's fun every day. And I think really for me, it's just getting together with friends is the funnest thing. I just love to meet friends for, lunch, coffee, whatever. I just love being with my friends. So
awesome.
Living at home now, empty nester, it's just a highlight for me. So
yeah,
probably need something even more adventurous, but for right now, that's the key.
Dave, do you want to share?
Yeah, I was told that there's no PV in TV, so that was a long time ago.
That's what I'm talking about.
We live down by the beach, so we're out on the beach doing a little earthing, getting those magnetic pulses going, and I also work out a lot every day.
So yeah, and it looks like all of you have good things that you've chosen to do for fun. My fun is being with my horses, being with my dogs, going outside in nature. So those are things that I make sure I have time every day. And so quit. Dogs are fighting over here. So those are things you want to put in. Those are the non-negotiables. Okay. So you put those in your calendar. I'm going to do a quick screen share and show you kind of how I've scheduled my calendar online. Some of you might prefer paper, but I prefer using Google Calendar. Over here can you see that? So over here on the left is my personal time. This is my daily sadhana, my self-care, my quiet time when I have for my pets, for reading spiritual texts, for journaling, writing, practicing my breath work. And I have a 3-hour window that I've actually taken every day for that. And then I have next is brunch. And then, like I said, I made sure I have time for brunch. And then I have my Juice Plus business. So, which is on there twice for some reason. I don't know why. And then, of course, like things like calls. And so I have a block of time for 2 hours that I'm working my business in the morning. And the call that we're doing today would be part of that time block because that's in there. And then I'm writing this afternoon. I'm going to stop and prepare dinner, which if it doesn't get in there, it's going to be forgotten. And then I have to pick up my daughter. So the green is the family time. The red is my writing time. The pink is National Marketing Director time. My teal over here is time with my yoga teachers that I'm training. So everything can be separated like that on a Google Calendar, and I have a different calendar for each activity. So that might be something that works for you, but you can also use a planner that you can use with highlighting it with marker or coloring it on your own calendar, just to make sure those times are blocked out. So
that we can put in the team Facebook group for just the paper people. That's just for time blocking,
right?
Just like a general one that you would try and then.
Well, this is the general one. So this one is the one that Jamie taught.
Okay.
This is taking your day, your AM and your PM, and you take and you block out segments of time. This is what you want to utilize as your map for the day, and then you go and put your details in there. So you create a color for each section of your life, all of your big rocks, your non-negotiables. So like I have time in there for sleeping. You're going to put in all the hours that you sleep and mark that off as a piece of the pie. And then you're going to put in there like your business time, and you're going to mark that off what hours you're working. And then you're going to put in your family time, and you're going to mark that off what hours you're spending with your family. And then you're going to put in your self-time and mark out what time you're spending on your own self-care and your spiritual practices. And so with that, you're going to create your kind of your map. And Jamie said to create a map for your busiest day, like your most full day. And then you also want to create another map for like vacation time, and another map maybe for summer mode if you have kids at home during the summer. So that gives you the planning process so you know where to plug things in on your daily calendar. So I love that. And then the last thing that Kathy Crockett said is to create a big rocks calendar. And so what I did is I just Googled 12-month calendar and printed off a 12-month calendar for the next 3 years and put in those non-negotiable dates. We have the Juice Plus Live, which is coming up twice a year. We know it's always October and April. We have our Dallas Summit, which is in January. If you go to any boot camps or anything like that to keep your business, fresh during the summer or whatever, then you're going to mark all those off. You're going to mark off personal holidays that you have with your family, vacation time, and all those things get marked just as a tiny little dot. So you have this little 12-month calendar that you can literally just put in your pocket. And that way you know for sure that all your stuff is being marked in before you put other things on top of your schedule. And then so she said, what are your essentials? If I had more time, I would blank. So on your notes, so after we get off this call, fill that out. And then if I had more money, I would blank. And so what are those things? What is something that you don't want to go a week to go by that you do not do? And those are your essentials. So those are the things that I just want to make sure that everyone's putting in time in your calendar to make sure, and looking at what you can prune. And that's the thing, is just pruning. If I had time now, I would blank. So those are the questions that I'd like you to fill out. And then look at the things that you say, I don't have time for, and what can you start cutting. And especially in winter right now, this is a really good time for pruning. So just cutting away all those little loose ends of the things that are not the essentials, and creating really, really good habits, purposeful time with your family and your kids. And if you do that for 30 minutes a day, if you prune just 30 minutes a day, you're going to end up with an extra month in 2018. That's it. Any questions?
No.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you, Lisa.
I'm going to turn it back over to Sheryl, and she's going to share a little bit about what David Bevers poured into us over the weekend. It was really, really powerful.
Yeah, and I may just kind of highlight that since we're kind of running out of time and do more next time. But I do want to just give a quick overview, because I think, in light of what all Lisa shared, just there was so many people talking about, being clear on what our goals are and our vision and all that, so that we know where we're headed, and then to block those out in our schedule and make them a priority, make them sacred, But in the midst of all that, what really hit me and what David focused on in a very, very deep way is really being the cool thing in this business, really being who we are in the business, our true selves, that this business allows itself for any personality, any type to really get involved. And there's so many choices we have of how to do the business. There's the social media gurus, and there's the one-on-one people. There's all kinds of ways to do the business. And of course we have core things that we all need to do in our mission-driven model to build and get to the next level. But within that, David really dove into what is our authentic self. Are we really being who we are and true to ourselves in every piece of the business? And, because it's easy to see the upfront people up there doing things. And I know for me, being more of a shy, quieter person, to compare myself to those that are, up there doing all kinds of stuff. And David was so freeing in his talk about really loving ourselves, really diving deep and getting in touch with what lights our heart, full of passion within this business. our own style and who we really are. So that bleeds into everything we do. And I'll share a couple of his quotes that were really interesting. But just in terms of writing our stories, as we do our calendars and the priorities that we pick, are those the things that really get us excited, versus that there's always, again, those things that are maybe not as fun, the tedious things or whatever organizationally, but then is the majority of our schedule and what we're doing and how we're working this business, really exciting us and making us just really, excited for all that we're doing, and it fuels us. So the first thing, his title of his talk was paying attention, and what he was talking about is really paying attention to the deeper parts of who we are. As he said, one of the things that, he said that we all have heard a lot, how we do anything is how we do everything. And he was talking about, how we treat ourselves, how we respond to ourselves is going to bleed into everything in the business as well, to talk to ourselves like we talk to someone, that we really love. Let me flip over here because I'm just trying to highlight it real quick for right now. And then we can do more of this because this was, I think, just a really, really powerful talk. And he was calling us, we always know that this is a personal growth journey, but he was saying on a deeper level, the authentic personal growth, that we're just really embracing who we are and who God has gifted us to be, and how we have the gifts to show up and bless the people that are in our world, and that the Lord's going to really bless the people that he puts in our path when we're living with passion, and to find that place in the business that really does fuel our passion. And he was saying, let's see, without self-acceptance and loving ourselves, our attempts to help others will be more futile. So it's only when we arrive at a deep sense of self-acceptance that we are able to be self-forgetting and more spontaneous and fun, and he just, again, it was a longer talk with just a lot of really thought-provoking questions. So if y'all would like, we can go over more of that later. But one thing that I have come to just appreciate so much, I think, in this business is that we can really be ourselves in the business. I don't know if y'all have done the Strengths Finder, which is one of the greatest tools, I think, to highlight people's, natural giftedness in a career setting. It's a real popular tool. And there's so many ways right now to do the business and so many things at our fingertips with this, the freedom calls and the 90-day game plan. There's so many things going on. And to be able to tailor what we're doing to our personality, and then to help our team do that, like Dave, I think of, you just seem so good at that with the, all the Tower Garden stuff and the community you're in. You have a real excitement that you fuel other people with, and you seem to bring out, and support the strengths of your team really well when you're talking about them. And I think it's just really fun that we can do that in this business, and to help our new people catch that vision, that there is a plan to get to NMD, and there's these things, of course, that we all want to do, but within that, helping them craft their story that is authentic to who they are, so that it flows out naturally, and that they don't have to try and be prove anything or be someone they're not or anything. I don't know if I'm kind of summarizing a lot of different things, but it just really was so fun to me to hear that coming from David, just trying to alleviate pressure from everyone of having to prove anything or be a certain way, or the way of setting certain goals. And I mean, of course, all that is real important, and the time frames and the time blocking, but that's actually really freeing at the same time, when we're doing it very authentically, for ourselves. So that's kind of in a nutshell, but anything to add to that, Lisa? You're muted, so I can't hear you.
Yeah, I wanted to segue off of being free, and that when you do segment that time for your family, and you segment that time for your business and you segment that time for eating, you know that you're not multitasking. We spend so much time multitasking that we are a professional piddler. And you don't ever get anything deeply done with laser focus when you are multitasking. And so you can dibble here and dibble there, and you feel like you've touched on stuff, but you've really not dived down into that place where they, like if you're digging for water, would you dig 40 2-foot wells? No, you would go ahead and dig an 80-foot well, right? So that is exactly what we're doing when we segment out that time block. And then we have the freedom, like Marianne has, to watch TV with her daughter, because she's segmented out that time where she's working, and then she's segmented out that time where she's not on the couch texting people and following up with people. She's spending time with her daughter. You know, so that to me is so freeing, and I'm so glad you used that word.
Yeah, it's real freeing to me too, because I can tend to feel like I need to squeeze in something here and there because there's always more we can do, you know. And so to make those time blocks to me has been really freeing. So,
well, thank y'all so much. I appreciate your call today, and I appreciate your wisdom on the stuff that David shared. I do look forward to hearing your takeaways again next week, or in 2 weeks when we do our next A-team call.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks. So anything else you guys want to share before we get off? Really thank you for being on. I know Friday's a tricky day.
I'll just say that I sent a Voxer message to you, Bill, and you might want to check your Voxer and get back to me. It was about the Esselstyn book.
Okay, Dave.
You made a comment. I appreciate your input.
Fine, thank you. And I'd love to get a summary of what went on at P4Q.
Yeah, we'll be continuing to share. We're going to be doing the first and the third weeks of the month at 12 o'clock Central. So we'll continue to share. The next call will probably be more covering what we shared and what we've been implementing and things like that.
Fine.
Yeah, and you know, there's so much going on right now. We'll post more in the team Facebook group and in Voxer, because there's several charts that people are using that are helpful, and some other trainings from other NMDs that are, you know, reinforcing a lot of what we shared that are way more detailed, of course. So,
you mentioned something, Sheryl. Can you post the strength training, the strength finder?
Yeah, I will.
And if there's any specific resources anybody wants, please mention that in the Voxer, and we'll make sure to get that out to you.
Yeah, and Dr. Otto, we can do some of that one-on-one too. So, sure, yeah, more of that for sure. So, yeah, just a lot going on, you guys. We just have fun. I mean, that was the thing. I have to tell you real quick, I'm sorry, a little side note, but I got to listen to another call of Catherine Lee's this week, and it was an hour and a half. And, you know, Catherine's always loaded. And when she was talking about having fun, she was saying, you have to have fun every day. And I was thinking, oh, every day? You know, because I think I've gotten so, I don't know, my plate just feels full. My sweet poor mom is just, you know, not well. And just, you know, there's just, I always feel like there's long days. And so I was like, oh, I don't think I'm doing that every day. You know, so it was just kind of, Catherine was just funny. She, you know, just makes everything important to balance out. And we heard that so much. I mean, the summit was so much fun. I would say, Lisa, would you say the most fun we've probably ever had?
It really was fun.
I mean, everybody was crazy fun.
Yeah.
And not in a hoop holler way. I mean, in a very genuine, authentic way. It was just really great, you know. So I just, you know, on that side, if we can end with that, I just want to really encourage y'all to really make plans to get to Phoenix and encourage your team to do that. There's nothing like all being together. And the energy, not only for our business, you know, to get to the next level. And there's going to be a lot they're going to be unveiling at Phoenix, especially about social media and things. So just some new protocols, things like that going on that they're wanting us to adhere to. And I think there's just it's just so much fun to all be together. And I think for the new people and getting people there, this just did a whole lot for me these last 3 days, for sure. You know, you just need that family input. So anyway, love you guys and appreciate you so much. And we will be posting more in the groups. So please send us your questions and we'll email. Okay.
Thank you. Glad you all went to see. Good for you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.